Freeman. I'm the director here at the Genesee County Land Bank. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the land bank and our maintenance program and some of the challenges that we have, as well as some of our successes and our partnerships that are helping eliminate blight and keep our community looking cleaner and better. So the Genesee County Land Bank, our goals are blight removal, home ownership, and responsible reuse of properties. So we hold properties and try and find individuals who will take care of vacant lots, who will renovate houses that are in substandard condition, create new home ownership opportunities, things that neighborhoods have asked us to support them in the community. So a little bit about our history. Move this box. So we are technically we are a governmental organization formed in 2004 as a response to tax foreclosure crisis in Genesee County. Now, many people think that the land bank is actually part of the county, but we are actually an independent authority, and we partner with the county as the foreclosing governmental unit, which is the treasurer's office. And this partnership involves the properties being conveyed over to us once they don't move through the auction process or local units don't exercise the right of first refusal. So we receive and manage these properties on, for the county after tax foreclosure. There are tools that are built into the land banking legislation that actually create more value to these properties. So working with brownfield, there are, during the holding period, we can actually prep properties for revitalization, like doing cleanup on environmentally contaminated sites and so forth. So our mission is to restore value to the community by acquiring, developing, and selling vacant and abandoned properties in cooperation with stakeholders who value responsible land ownership. Many of the properties that we get have been blighted properties for years, and they finally go through tax foreclosure once they've been abandoned. So we accept these properties in many different states and conditions, most of them being poor and challenged. These properties don't come with money, which is part of our challenge, but we do fund development. We work with foundations, we work with federal agencies to put together the money to demolish, to maintain, to improve properties. And so it's not perfect, but this is a problem we're all dealing with as far as blight and abandonment. As Dan Kildee once said, when people left the city of Flint, they didn't take their houses with them. And of course, we all know that the population in Flint has decreased from, once upon a time, we were built out for 200,000 people. And now we have probably around 90,000 or less people based on recent census data. So we have a huge challenge here, and we really value our community residents as a partner in trying to deal with the properties that we have. So when the land bank was created in 2004, and I'm going to move through these very, a little quickly, just because you see, the issues that we've had with blight and abandonment. So 2010, 2012. And so it really is, it's an epidemic as people left, and they left these properties and didn't pay their property taxes. This is the result of it. So this is our last map that we've had from 2020. So we have roughly 13,382 properties in the city of Flint. We have roughly 1,500 properties in the Out County. So I'll talk a little bit about our land bank inventory. So since 2004, we've accepted or received 27,000 properties. So right now our inventory in total is about 15,000, which means that we've sold or disposed of roughly 12,000 properties out of our portfolio. Majority of our inventory, what we get is they're vacant lots. So 71% of what we have is vacant. 25% of what we get is residential with structure. 3% are commercial vacant lots, and then 1% are commercial properties with structures on them. So let's talk a little bit about the vacant property maintenance program. So one of our challenges is is that if we were to mow annually, the tall grass, remove trash on, more than really 20,000 vacant properties in Flint, once a month from spring to summer, we would have about $7 million in total costs just to do that. And that would just be monthly during the growing season. It would cost an additional $845,000 to board the vacant properties that we have, open doors, windows. So now we're up to almost $8 million in what we optimally would need. However, really with our budget, with what we fundraise and a lot of this, through our property sales, we then take that money and we put it back into mowing and maintenance. And so this leaves us, with about $2 million to spend on properties. So really what we do, or what we're able to do, is get through the entire city, do one mow on every property that we have. And then also when our teams, our crews are out there and we have a stretch of 5 land bank properties, and then there's 2 vacant lots that are overgrown, we don't just stop and say we only take care of our own, but we want to see the entire block cleaned up and maintained. And so, we have 13,500, and yet like last year we did $17,000 mows in the city. So in fiscal year 2021, so to date, our land bank crews, we've trained and employed more than 26 local crew members. We've mowed more than 11,000 properties so far in the city of Flint. We've boarded and secured hundreds of vacant structures. We've cleared dumping and debris from lots throughout the city. And we've actually installed cameras, boulders, and barriers in 9 areas as a pilot program for blight intervention, where we're trying to keep people from dumping on properties that repeatedly are dumped on. We clean the property, we install the cameras, we put in these boulders, and we're trying to see with lighting, with signage, all these different methods, what is the most successful strategy for us to keep people from dumping on these properties? So these are some pictures that we have of our workers out in the field. We are behind right now, unfortunately, because we did have funding allocated for more crews to be working in the community. It's just been a challenge to actually fill these crews. And so we're about 3 weeks behind. We are going to continue working though, and they will be working past the date that we thought we would be finished. So that because we do have the funding for it, it's just the labor and the workforce that we require to get it done just hasn't been sufficient. So, but our crews do a great job. I get calls all the time about the completeness of the work that they do, and we're really proud of our maintenance workers. Let's talk a little bit about vacant land reuse. So one of the most important things that we do is we sell vacant lots, and to adjoining, we prefer to sell to adjoining property owners that are, we prioritize the homeowner. And then, in some cases, then we'll sell to a landlord, but if the landlord has a property that's in good condition and we know that they're going to maintain the property. And that's a challenge too, where people assume that we have all these vacant lots and why don't you just basically sell or give them away? Actually, not everybody wants the additional burden of a vacant lot, unfortunately. So because there are assessments, there's taxes, some people just don't want to have to maintain the lot next door. But we actually do some pretty aggressive outreach to people who live around our properties to see whether or not they would be interested in selling or leasing these properties. So our leasing program is what we did to also, like, when people don't want the additional costs associated with owning the property, which are taxes and assessments, we will lease properties or adopt properties out to people so that they have some site control. They have, they don't have the liability on that property. We do liability waivers with people so that, everybody is basically protected. And so this has been really successful for us. We did have to suspend our leasing program for a period because of COVID. We had a backlog of applications for vacant properties and other property purchases. And so unfortunately, we had to stop for a period. However, we just hired somebody on who is doing a fantastic job in catching up on all of our leases. And I think we're pretty much caught up at this point, and we can continue to do that. So I'm pretty excited. Let me see, I think I just went ahead of myself. Great, okay. So these are just some pictures. This is actually an entrepreneur in the Mott Park neighborhood who actually has started her own business from the vacant lot, where she does flower arrangements, and it's a beautiful yard, and she does beautiful work, and she's very engaged in her neighborhood. And these are the type of people that we love to work with. And we have a partnership with the city of Flint and their choice neighborhoods area, where we're land banking on behalf of the city so that the developer can come in and put all this great new housing in Smith Village. We partner with community organizations like the Martin Luther King Jr. Peace Garden, where there is public access on this land. It's beautifully landscaped, and it's really a great community space that we love to support. So in community-based maintenance, we have the Clean and Green program. So I kind of outlined some of our challenges that we have, and between staffing all the way through to budgetary constraints. But one of the things that we're able to do is partner with community organizations. And so the Clean and Green program, their purpose is to support innovative community groups in cleaning, greening, and beautifying otherwise vacant land in Genesee County. So right now, the groups are on track to complete more than 22,000 mows in the season. Where I talked before about the land bank, we do one mow on all of our properties throughout the city. But when we have the Clean and Green partnership, and we have more intensive mowing in those areas. So nonprofit organizations, community groups can actually make application to be a Clean and Green participant with the land bank. And then for each mow, they're then compensated for that mow. And so we've seen tremendous results. I live in a neighborhood that participates in the Clean and Green program and has for many years. And I remember once upon a time we had all these overgrown lots, and no one was taking care of them in the neighborhood. And now, after years, the neighborhood actually will take the money from, or the proceeds from, the sales, and then they're using that to reinvest in new equipment. So zero-turn radius mowers and other things that help make their job faster and easier. And now you go through the neighborhood and not one single lot is overgrown, because they do above and beyond. So they not only just take care of the land bank properties, but they're making sure that every lot in the neighborhood is taken care of. So I think that's really a success, and it speaks to the potential of doing partnerships like this. So, I like the idea that we're compensating local people who are engaged in their neighborhoods, and also they take ownership of the land bank properties. They think, this is my neighborhood, I'm taking responsibility for my area. And I think that that's the kind of partnership that helps us do our job and move more of our resources to other areas that historically wouldn't be impacted positively. So outcomes for 2021, we had 64 community-based organizations participate in 2021, which is fantastic. And I think this is almost the most that we've ever had. These are just some pictures that we have on our community cleanup days, where that's actually me in the yellow t-shirt, working with my crews and with community residents, cleaning up dumping sites. And there again, partnership is what helps us do our job, and it creates more resources for our community. And so we really appreciate that. These are more shots working with, I believe that's our Councilwoman Galloway, and she was there and worked really hard all day, and we were really happy with the results of that cleanup. I believe this is over on the east side, where there was a fire, and there are a number of properties that we're actively trying to get demolished right now. We're putting together the funding request to take down these 3 that are in a row that actually have had a lot of dumping. And so, but the cleanup and that assistance with neighborhood residents has really helped. This is working on the north side. This is actually at a grocery store at the intersection of MLK and Welch Boulevard. And it's a grocery store that we haven't, it's going through the foreclosure process and it will be foreclosed upon. But there again, a lot of dumping, and we were able to clean that up and was really happy with that. So specific to outcomes with our Clean and Green program, we've had some analysis with the University of Michigan with the Youth Violence Prevention program. And so they've actually looked at the data and statistics related to these areas that are being cared for within Clean and Green. And we've actually seen 30% decrease in assaults in the area. And then we've actually seen 40% decrease in violent crimes overall. So it's well taken care of, maintained areas actually will drive away the crime that takes place, or what we've seen. So, with the right resources, one day it'd be great to expand this program to cover the entire city. Funding is a limitation right now, but this is a great program, and I think it's one of the best things that the Land Bank does. So my time is limited. I may have overspoke, and I'm sorry about the delay, but I wanted you to kind of get an idea of what the Land Bank does, what they hope to do as well, what challenges we have. And we're not going to stop looking for new solutions or new ways to deal with blight and abandonment. This is something that's an everyday concern for us here at the Land Bank. We receive a lot of properties that are in terrible condition, and we appreciate all of you in the community who work with us to figure out how we can jointly deal with the issues of blight and abandonment. So at this point, I will turn it back